Hello everyone, this is day 31 and today's dare is love and marriage, and it talks about leaving and cleaving, and it says, is there a leaving issue you haven't been brave enough to conquer yet? And it says, confess it to your spouse today. I think we talked about, touched on some of these issues in yesterday's dare. The two things we talked about is about money, dealing with money, and the other one is disciplining children. Those are the two things we bring it from the family that we leave behind, how we were brought up and how we dealt with money. And I still remember in the early years. Uh, I used to tell Jeeva, my dad never borrowed any money to buy anything. Why are we using credit cards? And, why do we have to go into debt to buy things?
And I'd say,
and,
I'm not your dad. Hello.
Yeah. Those are the things, you don't think, it's going to affect your marriage and, it's going to affect your relationship. But it did, and so eventually, over the years, you feel like we have to work together at it. We have to have one goal. You're not, you don't want to have two different thoughts, and which means there's no unity in working towards one goal. And over the years, we realize that things aren't working. So we sat down and had a good chat, not once, a few times, and now we are,
Many times.
now we are with one vision, one goal, to get out of that, and we are just working towards it. And same thing with bringing up children, just the way you're brought up. Everybody's parents discipline, the children, us the different way, and that's the way you think they should be disciplined. And I was brought up in India, very strict, and you cannot use the same disciplining skills here in Canada, So I had to change, and we have to come up with our own rules and regulations that will work for our children here in Canada. And it's not that you're going to give in to some of the good values that you were brought up with, but you just have to make a little adjustment here and there, and we still have our own rules. And our children know that. Yeah. And I'll let Jeeva continue.
Well, in a way, Sulojana touched on the issues that she brought, and I really couldn't think of anything very overt that I brought into or had any kind of leaving and cleaving kind of issues from my upbringing. I think my parents have been very good that way, in that. Until I was home, then I was under their authority and influence. And but once I got married, I really cannot say that they've ever, interfered or brought in any kind of, or raised me with any kind of issues that I couldn't shed once we got married. And so I was really blessed that way. I think I'm thankful to God for that.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I would get unsolicited words of advice sometime. Sorry, Mom, Dad. But that's par for the course, isn't it? You guys get that, don't you? Okay.
And with me, my parents aren't alive anymore, so they're not there to interfere with our marriage. And all the rest of my family is far away and back in India and Malaysia. So we don't get interference from them. Maybe when we get together, we get into some, we get some advice from my older brother and sister.
Yeah. Yep. I saw that. But it's not really been a serious issue. And as Sulojana said, whenever something has come up, we've been able to address it.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing marriage counseling or marriage preparation, rather, I always tell couples, when you become a couple, you think there's two people moving into a house, it's actually four more that you don't see. But you bring that baggage with you. And so you always need to be aware of it. And I'm just kind of sensing need to say this to at least one person who's watching, that some of the irreconcilable differences, or seemingly irreconcilable differences that that you guys are dealing with in a marriage may have to do with a leaving and cleaving issue. You know what? Sometimes we call it the family of origin issue, and so you may need to examine that and have a little bit more empathy for your spouse, because as Sulojana said, you know, if you know only one way to do it, it is the right way to do it, and there shall be no other way of doing it. Like, that's the attitude with which you come, because that's all you know. You don't know any better. And so it helps you to be a little bit more empathetic towards your spouse and understand them. All right, I think we've said enough. So we will talk to you again tomorrow. God bless.